What's up, guys? How's it going? I wanted to talk about the Giants, Joe Judge, this football team, this organization, everything that I would do for the Giants. This season's been really boring. Let's just call it how it is, right? Maybe it's just me. I don't like the gray seats in the stadium. I think we need the red seats back. The old stadium had a lot of character. MetLife doesn't have a lot of character. But just talking about literally everything about the New York Giants, this is what happened to the Giants. They started out the Denver game, the offense was just abysmal in that game. Defense was terrible too. Teddy Bridgewater. Second game, Taylor Heineke, defense terrible. Offense was okay. But after that Slayton drop, Daniel Jones and the Giants couldn't move the ball either. Jones had opportunities to end the game. He didn't do it. Darius Slayton dropped that pass, but at the same time, it's like you want to see the Giants do a little bit better. Third week against the Falcons, the whole team plays really bad. They basically let Atlanta back into the game and let Atlanta take the game. So after that, your season's pretty much on life support. You beat the Saints, which was a great win in every regard. The whole team played really well in the fourth quarter. That was a huge win. And then everybody was invested to watch the Cowboys game. But there, Kenny Golladay gets hurt, Saquon gets hurt, and you lose by 30 to those guys. And then you're 1-4. So you had the Falcons game, you had the Redskins game with offsides and just not closing in, and the defense was so bad at the beginning of the year. Then after that Cowboys game, you follow it up. So you look at the Falcons game, the Giants played poorly. Denver, the Giants played bad. Washington, the offense played pretty good. That was the one game where it was a competitive football game, but they haven't played that way. Cowboys was a mess, and the Rams game was as bad as any game that's ever been played. That reminded you of the McAdoo era. That was dark times, but I guess you could say everybody's hurt. Then Carolina happens. You get a Raiders win. It's sprinkled in between, and then your defense goes up to Kansas City, and the defense plays really well in that game, and it's competitive and a little bit dramatic in the fourth quarter. I guess that's all you can expect. The Bucs are probably going to figure it out on the Giants, but the thing is with Daniel Jones is, I said at before he was drafted, like he played at Duke. He was a 500 quarterback there, but you're thinking he's going to have better wide receivers. He's smart. He understands the game. He has height. And he has, he can run a little bit. So I wanted to give Daniel a chance to pretty much see if this guy's going to be good or not at the NFL level. But he was a big risk. And the Giants were in trouble because Eli Manning, it's just how do you move on from Eli? It's so tough. Everybody loves everybody's getting to see the personality of Eli Manning. And the fact that Eli beat Green Bay in the playoffs twice on the road is something that I don't think is going to be duplicated by pretty much anybody. What Aaron Rodgers did or Tom Brady did it once, and there were no fans there, and it wasn't like he beat Brett and Aaron. So, and he played lights out in like -degree weather. So it's so tough to move on from Eli Manning. And then the Giants, their hands were forced. And then you have Pat Shurmur, who's the most unimaginative coach. That's an ownership hire. That's a Gettleman hire. Gettleman on offense, he just hires the worst offensive coordinators. He hired Jason Garrett, who has no creativity, no deep play potential. And then, Jason, and then Dave Gettleman selects, he selects Jason Garrett and Pat Shurmur, and he brings in James Bettcher, who's a terrible defensive coordinator. And James Bettcher hasn't gotten a job since. So, you look back at Gettleman and where he really messed up, and the Giants could have brought in Brian Dable and Josh Allen. That easily could have happened. The Giants could have went out there and they could have tried to get a McVay person, an offensive coordinator like Shanahan. They could have tried to break the bank for Kyle. They could have had, Josh Allen at the same time. You start to look at the coordinators now. They could have gotten Kellen Moore before Kellen Moore got red hot like he has. I even think Arthur Smith's going to be really good. Everybody's talking, about Arthur, and he had a really bad couple of games here. But Arthur's kind of dealing with Matt Ryan still, and Arthur's going to be a guy that's going to last a long time in this league. Like, he has the right demeanor. He knows how to be a CEO, and I think he can call a game, and Dean Pease is a really good defensive hire. So, you look at Judge. What does Judge do well? Joe Judge, he's good at special teams. All right. Great. I mean, Gano's been really good. The defense, the special teams, the creative plays, and the clock management has all not been terrible. Everybody gets hurt, so the strength and conditioning is not that great. The D line, like Sean Spence is a good hire. Like Patrick Graham, like they got that one right. Like Graham is a really good defensive coordinator. Like I love the defensive staff. All right. The secondary coach is good. Jabril, Julian Love, Xavier had a pick 6, Xavier McKinney. So the secondary's been kind of fun at times. James Bradbury played his best football last year. You're paying him $15 million a year, but look at Darius Slay. He's getting paid $2 million more. What is Byron Jones and Slay so much better than Jabril or than James Bradbury? I don't know. Blake Martinez then gets hurt, so he's a useless $10 million. Leonard Williams, you give away a third round pick for Leonard, but then you have to extend him. And now that contract's looking really bad. Was it worth the third rounder? In terms of his play at the end of the year, and then Lorenzo Carter, then you have, freaking the guy like Max Crosby's a 4th round pick. Like, how come the guy from Old Dominion how come O'Shane Ximines couldn't be a really good kind of, pass rusher in the NFL, getting like 6-7 sacks? Like Lorenzo Carter too was busted. All the Georgia guys. Aziz Ojulari looks pretty good, but Lorenzo Carter not there. X-Man was not there. Sam Beal was a huge miss in the other draft. Greedy Williams isn't doing anything of note. Is Shane Lemieux is hurt. Nick Gates is hurt. The whole team. Hernandez is too small. Has been terrible. Nate Solder. It's been all these misses, and it's been really, really, really frustrating to see it unfold. You extend Sterling Shepard. He's always injured. This whole team is injured. The quarterback is not good or dynamic. Like, he doesn't have a big arm. They can't cooperate in the red zone. The team never stays healthy. You have one of the worst coordinators of offense in the league. I know I sound negative, but that's just the reality of it, all right? So what can the Giants do from here? What the Giants can do from here is they can give up their first pick this year, which is going to be a really high pick, and you could try to acquire maybe 2 first-round picks for that pick, all right? So basically, you get rid of your pick this year. Then the Chicago pick can be a top 10 pick. You also trade that pick for next year as well. You maybe get first and seconds and everything next year. So then next year, you're basically going to have your own pick, and then you're going to have 2 other teams' pick, and you're going to try to trade them the really bad teams that are in the first round, like the Lions, for example. Try to trade them to the Lions, to really rebuilding teams, so that those picks are really valuable. You look at next year's quarterback class. CJ Stroud, to me, one of the best quarterbacks in college football history. Better than Trevor Lawrence, all right? What does CJ Stroud have? He has arm strength. He has football IQ. He has great height. He has mobility, touch, and accuracy. He has everything you need to be an elite quarterback. What wins in the NFL? It's quarterback play. You look at Joe Judge right now. You can get rid of Judge. Can Judge adapt offensively? Like, if you just allowed Judge to honestly be like a rallying cry kind of personality, do a little bit of special teams, a little bit of defense, and manage timeouts like Mike McCarthy and get out of the way and have, a good offensive coordinator, I would try to get somebody from Ohio State, like maybe Brian Hartline, maybe Corey Dennis. I would get somebody from Ohio State on your staff with Stroud. Use these draft picks on go all offensive line in this draft. Go all offensive line, and then you play all the rookies next year. And next year, you also have a pretty bad year yourself, so that you're going to have a really good pick next year. And then you get CJ Stroud. I mean, I think Stroud's going to be better than Dak Prescott at the NFL level. Maybe this video will be ridiculous, but that's the way that I'd build it. I mean, because if the Giants use both of their picks next year, you roll out Daniel Jones and you waste your pick, you're going to be sitting there. You're not going to get Stroud or Bryce Young in that draft. You're going to get Peyton Thorne, who's going to be a really good quarterback. Like, Peyton Thorne's going to be Mac Jones at the next level. So you get Peyton Thorne, and then your offensive line's not good enough for Peyton Thorne. And what are you going to be, one of the worst two teams in the league? You're going to get Bryce Young, who's like an Aaron Rodgers, or you're going to get a souped-up Dak Prescott like CJ Stroud. And Stroud is a safer pick because Stroud has the height. Bryce Young is still a little bit undersized, and that's why I just think Stroud is safer. Like, I don't think Stroud's going to suck. Like, what quarterback's not going to suck? I don't think CJ Stroud's going to suck. You look at the quarterbacks this year, you got Desmond Ritter, who's, if Desmond stays really healthy, like, who's Desmond Ritter going to be? Could he be like an average kind of Jimmy Carr, Teddy Bridgewater, back end of the first type of quarterback? Are you going to roll with a Malik Willis that he throws interceptions? He doesn't make the best decisions. He's a guy that's uber talented, but it's going to take some coaching. And can he go through progressions? He doesn't have the height. So it is a risky pick, but he does possess running ability, and he does possess a lot of throwing ability. But I like Stroud better. You have one year, and then again, you have all those picks next year. I'm so in favor of that. Like, next year, you can get the running back from Texas that's a generational. Like, he is honestly better than Saquon Barkley. He actually runs between the tackles, okay? Bijan Robinson is going to be the next great NFL running back. He's like an Adrian Peterson. He's like LaDainian Tomlinson. He's like Arian Foster. He's like those guys that you grew up watching. He's going to be that good of a running back. He's going to be like Zeke Elliott, all right? Like an actual great running back every single year, knock on wood. You get Stroud, you get Bijan Robinson, you start drafting linemen this year, you start scouting offensive coordinators, you bring in like Liam Cohen to run your freaking offense, or Kevin O'Connell, you bring in Ohio State, some up-tempo like offense, and you freaking spread it out, and you freaking go. You could draft like wide receivers in the third or fourth round and try to hit on like fourth round guys like Chase Claypools and everybody. And then next year, you're all ready to rock. Like, these guys have played in games this year. Like, you're all ready to go next year. All right. Daniel Jones comes off the books. You bring it, Dave Gettleman, like, you probably have like a temporary GM this year, like Kevin Abrams. That's how I would do it. Like, next year, you're probably not going to be great, but are you going to be great if you go all in anyway? Like, you're kind of like the Philadelphia Eagles, and then you're building this thing. And then in 2 years, when CJ Stroud comes into your franchise, you take him with the number 1 overall pick. You get that number 1 overall pick, and you take Stroud. Because, again, Bryce Young is too small to take, all right? Bryce Young's really, really good. But CJ Stroud is the safer, going to be really good, and probably going to be more durable just because of the size, all right? You take Stroud and you roll from there. Then you have your quarterback, your offensive line, wide receivers. You get free agency money over time. Within the first 2 years, you're probably going to make the playoffs the first year with Stroud. All right, knock on wood for good health. Stroud's going to make the playoffs. The next year, just like Russell Wilson won the Super Bowl second year, Like, you're going to literally get to like maybe 3 Super Bowls in 5 years. If you build your defense, you let Stroud roll, you're going to cook the division. You're going to cook Jalen Hurts, Washington Redskins, or the Washington football team, or the Washington Guardians, whatever they want to call their team out there in Washington. It's probably going to be the Red Wolves. Okay. I don't like Washington. I get why they changed the name. So people can get angry about that I said that I still called them their original name. So the thing is about the DC football program is that they have Ron Rivera, whose average is all hell. Everybody thought they'd be good, and they're not good. They suck. All right, Kellen Moore. If Kellen Moore gets hired, the Giants are in trouble if Kellen Moore's the future coach at Dallas. But look, Dallas has a lot of expensive guys. Like, eventually Zeke is going to get older, and Tony's not going to be the same. CeeDee Lamb's going to cost $20 million. He's like the best receiver in the damn league already. I told everybody he'd be one of the best receivers, one of the best college receivers ever. That's what you have to do if you're the Giants. You got to think long-term. You got to be creative about this. This quarterback class, let's go through the quarterback class. You can get Kenny Pickett, and Kenny Pickett is not good. He's not mobile. He has small hands. The arm strength's not there. It's really not there. He's a backup quarterback, all right? The arm strength's not there. Matt Corral, terrible throwing motion, really tiny, like barely 6'1", not thick, does not like look like big, like a Malik Willis actually has huge upside, because Malik Willis can truck people. Malik Willis is strong. Like, Malik Willis is an absolute beast as a runner and as a thrower of the ball. Malik Willis actually has that star potential. Then you look at Sam Howell. Again, Howell is small. I don't think he's that good. Not that mobile. Like, not going to be great. Like, a completely kind of a not as good Baker Mayfield, right? You got Pickett, you got Corral. Again, I don't like those guys that much. You got Desmond Ritter. I said Desmond Ritter already would be like a pretty good quarterback. Like, he's a great leader. He could throw the ball very well, good timing, good touch. Like, he's going to be pretty good. Like, he's going to function. He'll be a second contract guy. He'll be a decent, like, top 15 quarterback, Desmond Ritter. You take him at the end of the first round, that's his value. Malik Willis could be a star, but it totally depends where he goes. And then he's going to figure it out in year 2. But again, if Bryce or Stroud was coming out this year, like, I think Bryce and Stroud are way up there. And gosh, I'm nitpicking with Bryce Young. I mean, the arm talent of Bryce Young is really one of the more talented quarterbacks ever to come out. And his star power is incredible. Nice kid and everything. But I just like Stroud. Like, I like the build of CJ Stroud. His football IQ is incredible. He's schooled by Ryan Day, one of the best ever. I mean, I'm CJ Stroud fan, and this kid, to me, like, geez, I don't know who's a freshman right now that's going to be better than CJ Stroud. Like, you can look at Caleb Williams. He's not going to be better than CJ Stroud to me. Stroud and Young are the truth, and then you're going to have to wait until 2026 until you get Drew Aller coming in, and Drew Aller is great. Maybe J.J. McCarthy at Michigan will also be a really good quarterback, like a mid-first round pick in a couple of years too. But that's how I build the Giants. Like, you got Liam Cohen. You could go out to Western Kentucky and get your guy, get Zach Kittley. All Zach Kittley does is put up big offense. You could try to get Herman and Helfrich to help you out as like analysts and stuff. Even freaking Adam Gase can just be a nerd analyst, that you can have up in your building. I mean, Graham's a good DC. Listen, Alex Grinch will be a pretty good coach too. Alex Grinch is a New Jersey guy. The offensive coordinator of Rutgers is a New Jersey guy too. You ran the Princeton offense really well. Good running schemes. Like, hire him. Hire him as an offensive coordinator. Pay him more than Rutgers is paying I'll tell you the OC. Sean Gleason, yeah. Sean's smart. I think he went to like an Ivy League school. He went to Princeton. I mean, Sean Gleason's smart. Like Sean Gleason could be a really like he could be a good NFL coach. Dan Mullen, like you have the Maras have money. Dan Mullen's going to get fired. Like Dan Mullen could produce quarterbacks. He could scheme it up. That's what Dan loves doing. So you have money. Like Joe Judge, he's just, is he a CEO type of guy? He hires all his friends. That's the problem. He doesn't have enough innovate. He doesn't have anybody outside of his circle. I know Rob Sale's in the circle, and I know it's important to keep the circle because you don't want anybody backstabbing you. And that was a horrible situation with that offensive line coach scared the bejesus out of Joe Judge because who's the Mark Colombo? Those guys almost came to brawls. So that would suck, to hire a guy that hates your guts. But at the same time, like when you're not winning, like you need to hire guys from different philosophies. Like Freddie Kitchens, your same run the ball philosophy. Jeremy Pruitt's the same philosophy. Brett Bielema, same philosophy, a college philosophy. Rob Sale, go from the Shanahan tree. Like, get somebody from the Vikings. Get somebody from the 49ers. Hire Wade Phillips' son. Look at the Rams. They hire people from everywhere, They hire people from the college ranks, like Liam Cohen comes in. They hire Zach Robinson from freaking Pro Football Focus. Used to play quarterback at Oklahoma State. Like, they're an interesting team. Like, they have interesting candidates on their staff. Look at the 49ers, look at Baltimore goes out there and hires interesting people on offense and defense that are not really related to you. And yeah, you have to vet them. You have to see if their personalities are going to match up. But guess what? College, the NFL people. You can find out if someone's a good guy and is not going to be that combative to you over the course of a year. And you can interview them and spend time. And that's what happens. You do the same thing with players. So again, that's my plan for the Giants. I think it's a good plan because I came up with the plan. But again, you punt on next year, but I want the Giants to be good for about 5 years. I want them to win the 2023 Super Bowl, 2024 with CJ Stroud next year. You're going to win the 2020. You're going to be right in at 2023. You're going to be in the playoffs with CJ and that offensive line. Oh my God. Kadarius Toney, you have Saquon Barkley, you get another running back. Evan Ingram will be so good in the offense with Stroud, and Evan will keep getting older. And man, it's exciting. It's exciting. Joe Judge, a little too strict, way too stubborn, hires his own friends, doesn't have innovative offense, doesn't know anything about the offensive side of the ball, and it's a huge problem. Huge problem. The defense, Patrick Graham and Judge are pretty decent at. He's a good special teams and defensive guy, but offense is so important, and he's so inept on offense. You combine that with Daniel Jones, who's a very below average quarterback, one of the worst in the NFL. You combine that with the worst strength and conditioning program, and you have a crap product and a terrible team. You combine that with the ugliest, kind of stadium seating arrangements in the NFL. Oversized. I hate to say it, but MetLife at 80,000, it should be 60,000. You get the acoustics going. MetLife is modern. It has zero character. The best stadiums in the NFL, Lambeau Field, Wrigley Field, Fenway Park, Soldier Field. I know Soldier Field is whatever. The Cowboy Stadium's fine, but it's in a dome. You want a stadium that's loud and has a lot of character, man. I mean, you share that place with the New York Jets. Ugh. Giants should move out, kind of get their own stadium. The Meadowlands itself, like the Meadowlands, you have the horse racing, which is fun as heck. You used to have the Nets games there, and I like the Nets in Jersey better. There was more character with that team than Brooklyn. In terms of I love Jason Kidd, and maybe the team was better, but man, there's just a lot of things that can be done. Like the white pants with the jerseys are just they're I mean, that's not Giants. Giants are gray pants. Giants are you get the helmet back with the underline under it. You stop with the all white jerseys for color rush. You stop that completely. You bring back the red jerseys, even though you lost every game. That was still when you had Eli Manning, and that was still in 2006. You bring back a bruising running back like a Brandon Jacobs, like a real short yardage kind of running back that's really fun to watch. All right. When the Giants had Ruben Drones and guys like Orleans Darkwa, that was fun to watch. You get a tight end that's really nasty. Like you had Jeremy Shockey, you had Ballard. You used to have really good tight end play. Like Evan Ingram doesn't really block. You tried to get Kyle Rudolph, damn hurt all the time. Man, it's a frustrating season. It's a frustrating team. You know, you don't want to force like a Kenny Pickett or a Matt Corral. That would be that would set you back. That would be dumb. Then you're going to have to draft another quarterback in 2 straight years, which nobody does. But like Arizona drafted Kyler Murray after Josh Rosen, and now they're the best team in the freaking league. So who cares about the whole drafting quarterbacks? Anyway. I enjoyed the stream. It's a long stream. Maybe you guys will find it entertaining. That's how I would build the team. Look out for the future. I love these kids from Alabama and Ohio State. It's going to be Bryce Young versus Stroud in the final, probably of the college football playoff. It's going to be so damn good. I would have taken Stroud number 1 this year. I probably would have taken Bryce. I mean, you look at Bryce, you know, you look at Trey Lance is very good. Zach Wilson, it would have been some competition. But I think I would have even taken him number 1 this year over Lawrence. And there's just no holes in the guy's game, and maybe it'll happen. But the guy goes 33 of 36 today for 500 yards and like 6 touchdowns in 1 half. It's like he's crazy good. All righty, guys, that's about it. Thanks for watching.